Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to some good old StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today I'm playing a live game for you and this time around it is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. Now, in Zerg versus Protoss as of late, I've got a very solid win rate and I feel that it's primarily because of the triple hatch opener. I don't know, I've been opening a lot with hatch gas pool, and while it definitely is a little bit on the greedier end, I feel like it works out almost every single time, as the Protoss players are also opening up with very greedy expansions themselves. And all in all, I feel like it really does help boost my economy quite a little bit. So I think I currently have like 70% win rate or so in the Zerg versus Protoss matchup. And I've been noticing a lot of improvement lately, which is nice. Now obviously, I am hyping myself up a little bit right here. Obviously, I'm by no means claiming that I'm anywhere near perfect in this matchup whatsoever. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, in particular when it comes to the late game. But in this video, I'm gonna try and showcase to you, hopefully, what my standard Zerg vs Protoss currently is looking like. So I've been playing a lot of Hydra-focused compositions, and I did just, by the way, see the probe come in, but I've been playing a lot of Hydra-based compositions, where I switch into some Lurker play after, after doing a Hydra upgrade push, which seems to work out really nicely. I tried catching the probe there, did not quite get him, just gave him a little bit of a tickle, a little bit of a nibble. But now that I've got my expansion going up, I am also gonna be adding on the spawning pool as well as the gas geyser. So as you can see, right, this is one of those builds that's relatively greedy, but in most scenarios, it works out just fine. So right now I see my opponent adding on extra gas. That's pretty late. I also see that his cybernetics core is nowhere near done just yet, and this is pretty clearly going to be a quick expansion from my opponent as well. Either that, or he's been building, you know, gateways on my side of the map, but by seeing that second gas, that also gets taken out of the equation. So at this point in time, we are gonna be making ourselves up for a little bit of a macro game. Sure, I could try and go for a little bit of aggression, and sure, I could try and pressure my opponent out of this game and just, you know, try and get a council on his base or whatever. But I'm not gonna lie, like, most of the good players out there are gonna be capable of dealing with all of that kind of aggression with relative ease. So what we'll do instead here is try and go for the guaranteed advantage instead. So I'm getting my my queens out right now. I'm gonna be getting my Zergling speed, and I'm getting my workers. And workers is really where it's at. You need to make sure you get as many workers as possible with Zerg. And if you manage to somehow, some way figure out how many you can get away with, which is honestly the most important skill when it comes to playing Zerg, you're gonna be a-okay. So for the time being, I'm gonna make one set of Zerglings here for scouting, but other than that, I am just gonna be making workers. Now, there are still definitely a couple of sets of units that I will be creating as well shortly after the fact, but for the moment, it's all about the worker count. I gotta make sure I get as many of these little tiny droners out as we possibly can. Now, there is the potential that my opponent puts out a couple of adepts on the map. I can counter those with roughly 8 or so Zerglings, so I'll go ahead and create those when my Zergling speed finishes, but until now and then, I am just purely making overlords as well as drones. Now, I do need to make sure I start scouting about at least a little bit. So what I'll go ahead and do here, actually just hit a minor supply block. Kind of annoying, but it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I'm gonna be trying to scout about what strategy my opponent has in mind. Now, at the 4-minute mark, I want to make sure that I've got these gases taken, or these blind spore crawlers taken, and I also want to, before that timer hits, have my gas guys, or my roach warren. So right now I'm scouting about, I'm seeing that there are already 4 gases up in total, which is actually a very big amount. That means a couple of things. First and foremost, he's stacking up, right? He's using this to, at the very least, get a leg up somewhere, and it looks like it's going to be starport play. Alrighty. So that immediately is an indication, in particular when he's going phoenixes, that he's not going to be moving out anytime soon. He may very well be trying to get this third base up, which is pretty important to keep in mind. And there's a chance that he's going to go for a little bit of adept aggression. But for the most part, if we see that my opponent is going to be going for phoenixes, that basically means one thing, and that is workers for me. In particular, now that he has the four gases as well, right? Like, that is a pretty big indication that it's a very safe moment here for me to start making as many workers as I would like for this game. Now, he keeps on sniping all the overlords. It's a little bit annoying, but I think we'll end up being just fine. Now, generally speaking, they're going to be taking their expansion around 5 minutes into the game. Not seeing it just yet. Ugh. That is going to be actually my last little point of interest right there. So I don't really know exactly right now if he's got the expansion. Oh, and sadly that one also did just get picked up. So I am a little bit in the blind. Now, I know he's got a lot of phoenixes, okay? So just to be safe, I'm gonna go ahead and make a second spore in each base as well. Just to be 100% safe, because I'm still making workers. Still haven't really added on any units here whatsoever. Gonna do some scouting now though with the links that I've got left over here. But I'm primarily trying to just simply not lose any army. So we'll be going for the +1/+1 here. Got my links moving across here, and indeed the Mothership Core did end up finishing the rock kills, which is fine. Lair is done. Gotta make sure that I get a couple more workers out and get all of these gases over here saturated too. And it looks like we've actually nearly already done so. So very, very good. Very, very good. That means that I can start making non-stop Hydras now. So notice, right? All of this so far has been just me timing out my workers. After timing out the amount of workers and basically figuring out what build my opponent is going for, I'm gonna be allowed to follow this up with as many units as I possibly want to. But I first off got the workers. I first off got all of the workers that I need. Now, double spores is a little bit on the safer end, obviously. And for the moment, I'm gonna be rallying all my my Hydras to set base, just so I don't lose random ones that are moving across the map. But all in all, this is looking really, really nicely for us. Now, we gotta be a little bit careful, because he does keep on picking off a couple of workers here and there. But this is looking real good for us. This is looking real, real good. Now, ideally, we do get an expansion up. I'm gonna go ahead and just grab that. Hope that the units aren't seeing it. And we actually see Archon. We actually see a bunch of Archon here. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Now, I'm honestly not too worried about Archon, to be completely honest with you. I got a pretty solid army here already. And, I mean, I'm gonna be capable of basically dealing with whatever he wants to throw at me. So here's what we do. We start reinforcing this with only Zerglings, okay? I got a whole lot of Hydras. Gonna be getting the Lurker down here as a follow-up. And now that my +1/+1 is done, I'm gonna go ahead and follow it up with only Zerglings. So we'll save up gas until either I want to be starting up my +2/+2, which may be happening soon, or, like, depending on what happens in this game, or I can use this to make a lot of Lurker. And Lurker are gonna be extremely powerful. Lurker are extremely good. Now, he's still making more and more Phoenixes, which is a little bit surprising. Like, he's invested very significantly into an army that's not gonna be capable of really doing a whole lot. And I'm just gonna start moving up this ramp. I'm just gonna simply move up this ramp. Actually, now I notice that his army's over here and a bunch of Immortals are caught off guard. I am just gonna be able to pick off whatever I would like to. Setting up a concave here, reinforcing with more and more Zergling. And keep in mind, we can start making Lurker very, very soon. Not really too worried about these Hydralisk right here for the moment. Now, there are a bunch of Dark Templar. So I'm gonna be forced to back up. Okay, I'm gonna be forced to back up here. Going for +2/+2. Gonna be stacking up towards my Hive Tech here as well. And obviously, just killing a bunch of these units did definitely just help. I mean, I cleaned up most of the army that he had. But we just have to be, on our toes here. Because Protoss is still Protoss. And once they get a big army out, things do go south real quick. Now, we know that there are Dark Templar out, right? So that means that he has infested pretty heavily into that. I'm actually going to go ahead and move that upgrade over. But we know that he's infested pretty heavily into that. Now, I think I got enough here to take care of any kind of unit that my opponent wants to go for as far as the air goes. Obviously, he will try his very best to kill my Overseers. But with Lurkers in mind, I think I can sort of like shut off the supply to his third base. If I burrow the Lurkers right here at the bottom of that, while tacking up towards the Hive, and reinforcing with more and more units, I think I'm going to be capable of being in a really, really good spot. There we go. So we're just simply going to move onwards here. We've got Lurkers on the low ground. And he does definitely have a pretty sizable army, everything considered. But I mean, I got so much stuff here as well that my opponent seems to be falling. And he does decide to GG out of the game. So all in all, pretty solid game. Pretty solid game. This is the example game that I would like to, you know, be able to copy in every single match of Zerg vs Protoss. So here's my thought process, right? Here's the strategy that I'm going for. I'm trying to obtain as many workers as I possibly can off of 3 bases by figuring out the strategy that my opponent is going for. Now, it is like, I can't really show you all of the options that Protoss has, but there are several options that they have, and generally speaking, it's a little too many to really, you know, properly give you one solid answer on it. But if you figure out the kind of build that the Protoss is going for, and you follow up accordingly to the strategy that you're scouting, generally speaking, you're gonna be capable of holding whatever they have, and you can try and figure out how many workers you manage to get away with. So I think before I droned up, right? Before I made like 80 workers, or, you know, in between me making 40 workers and my initial set of Zerglings, I really only spent about, I think, like 200 minerals on a handful of links, right? And those were for scouting purposes, as well as an overlord that I used to scout with as well. Other than those couple of units, I only made more and more drones. Now, because of those drones, I was capable of going for a very, very powerful timing. In this particular case, I decided to go for Hydralisk, which are a very good option. Now, I pushed out when the +1/+1 upgrade finished up, which is a very good moment to start moving across the map. But while moving out, I also started up the Lurker Den. When I figured out the build wasn't going that great, I was switching into +2/+2 upgrades. I actually went for melee upgrades right there in the end. And I also started up attacking up towards the Hive, just in order to obtain, you know, that guaranteed advantage and to always be able to surprise my opponent with my tech switches. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video of a very clean Zerg vs Protoss. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you would like to see more content like this, do make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification when I upload more. And other than that, I want to thank you all for watching this video. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I'll see you in the next one. Boom!